moving on to the next question. Sure. It was about, so again, thank you for introducing and telling us about yourself. Yeah. It was a long one, but it was important. Sorry. It was important so that at least now everyone knows who we're speaking to and who the guy is behind Monday nights, right? Sounds like Monday nights, wrestling, WWE, but different subject. What I was going to ask you was about in the Muslim community, coming from a Shia background myself, you coming from a Sunni background, amongst Sunni background, you might not know of it as much, but because you know about the intra-debates and as well as out-sectarian ones, the issue of takfir amongst Muslims, excommunication as it was called in English, this issue that's widespread, and you could say, back in the day it was like, maybe confined to more ulama, where the ulama would kind of deal with this above our heads, and it was there in the books, but it was one of those ones where scholars had that respect and they would be like, look, it's a scholarly thing, the awam and nas don't get involved in this. Yeah. I'm not saying takfir doesn't exist. I'm not that guy either. But I'm saying there are at times takfir is takfir. But the concept of just the common guys throwing it at each other and it's become so bad where Muslims can't even say salam, or even what we're doing today, I would say to an extent is groundbreaking. Yeah. Being able to sit down, as in the UK, has this been done? I don't see. Someone saying I don't know of any examples. I don't see it. So what I'm trying to say is it's reached that level. So what would be your nasiya or your background behind it, of how we've reached this stage and how we can actually fix this?
You see, I think the takfir phenomenon, declaring people kafir, is excommunicating them.
And just link that to the unity aspect.
Yeah, because I think this is quite shocking, because we've become trigger happy with takfir. Kafir.
Trust me,
and it's not just towards Shia.
It's true, even in Shia.
Within, people call me a kafir. I've been called a kafir because I problematized this thing, will Jesus come back? Oh, will Jesus come back? You're kafir. Wow. Why do you feel that this iman, this faith, is something which you have the right to chuck people out of? Like I said, it ain't your dad's deen. If anybody wants to be a part of this deen, it's their understanding. Traditionally, the understanding was this, that there may be certain claims that people may say, okay, we believe this claim, like the ulama would say, maybe kufr. If somebody starts saying, okay, there's two gods, we believe this is kufr. They weren't obsessed about saying, you are the kafir. Yes, I'm not saying there were never phenomenons, but because I'm not denying history, but what I'm saying, there wasn't an obsession.
Yes.
You see, the imams were they used to kind of run away from
very
this
cautious.
Kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what
they used to be like, what the hell? And maybe if people kind of pressurized them, they might have one, two incidents.
Or if the clear issue was clear, the guys
they may have, but not like the way it became. And now it's become if you don't do takfir, doing takfir is the norm.
The next usul is the person who doesn't do takfir, he's a kafir as well. Yeah, that's not black though. That's a dangerous one where it's you don't say it, so you're kafir as well. That's another bully one. Yeah.
This is what I really like that thing that Maulana Tariq Jamil Sahab said. He said I don't understand. He said, because he has this whole thing on unity as well, and he's
getting a lot of pressure for this.
He's getting a lot of slack.
Especially with the Shia.
With the Shia, because he said that there ought to be unity. Now, he made this statement that he said, kafir kya kam par gaye? Are we lacking kuffar?
Are we lacking kuffar?
I don't understand. What's the obsession on chucking people out of Islam? What are we? Do we feel there's a shortage of kuffar in the world? I've got to chuck you out. And what's the why are we then obsessed with, on one hand, da'wah? Let's convert people. On the same hand, they chuck people out.
Because this is it. Convert people to exactly what I'm upon. If you differ slightly,
and they will probably just do takfir of them in a few months' time.
100%.
Or call them a deviant, and then maybe in a year's time.
It starts from there, and then
So it's interesting. You see, where did this emerge? I think maybe some people can do detailed studies of this. I know it's been quite common. It's definitely common today. People do this blackmailing thing of if you don't call him a kafir, you're a kafir.
And the person's then he is.
Whoa, mate,
right, cool, he's a kafir.
What the hell is all of this? And in Pakistan, they do these kind of they used to say if you don't call him a kafir, then your nikah's broken, and you're.
They used to do that about us. They used to be if you go to, if you go to a Shia majlis,
okay.
I remember that a lot of women used to, there was a joke that was said about it, is that the woman would go to the Imam Sahib and say, बोलना साहब मैंने क्या किया मेरा निकाह क्यों टूट रहा है मतलब he goes to the madras why is my niqab breaking so they must do that a lot as well
because this is so this kind of, you see, this is a way to emotionally guilt trip and blackmail, strong arm the public, because the public might not understand iman, but when you say nikah they think, oh damn,
now this is getting
so
serious.
this is like I'm strong arming you into
serious
dissociating yourself.
Yes.
So this kind of this phenomenon, and I do believe that with I suppose the Wahhabi movement, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, this in his time anyway, this was highly accentuated.
Yeah.
Because he even, I mean, not even Shia necessarily, but mainstream Muslims, he was just calling all of them kuffar for a good while.
Because the wars that they done afterwards, there was witness to what it was based on.
Although I think the Salafiyya afterwards are not on his level per se, because he was just like on a pure like gung ho, like this is just before, you know, like kafir, like he was just like jumps in the room and the priest goes, huh? Why am I being called? Of course I'm a kafir.
And there's one guy that's dodging it. There's one guy that's dodging it.
And he was really weird because he declared all the Bedouins of his time kuffar.
What did we do?
Yeah, he was Bedouin, but he declared the other Bedouins because he said ala arabu ashaddu kufran wa nifaq, you know, like this,
that verse.
The verse, and he used to say that. So he's got this whole the ulama of Najd, the mashayikh of Najd have been debating this since, that are the Bedouins kuffar or not. So this but the Salafiyya today are not on his level. Maybe some of them are, but most of them are not. But they still have that strong
foundation.
Yeah, these kind of streaks
in them,
unfortunately full of a bit of hate.
Yeah.
And that's such a shame. And other people have it as well. I mean,
it stops, it stops dialogue.
Yeah, because
and once you stop dialogue, it leads to segmentation of Muslim thought.
Of course, and
because you don't understand me, I don't understand you, and we just carry on.
Because more than this as well, you see, I think, this is my understanding. I think, like, let's say now we're speaking about, let's say, Shia Sunnis. I think most people, majority of the Muslims, don't even know what necessarily Sunni Islam is, and don't even really know what Shia Islam is.
Yeah.
Like, they've got some idea of keywords. Like, they're going to say, okay, they're more to do with... I think maybe the public might not even know about but I think the public would think, okay, they are inclined towards Ali.
Yeah, true.
And they, let's say, go on about the family of the Prophet.
True.
And then they have, like, let's say, some understandings that, they're against the companions, let's say.
Yeah,
and they will probably say, we are, like... I think most people don't even really know what necessarily Sunni Islam is, except it's just the mainstream.
It's just the mainstream.
And then amongst themselves, there's all disagreements anyway. Now, the common public, which I think is probably about 90% of Muslims, what is the way forward for them? Because so the understanding is this, like, what are we to say? Like, what, people will ask, like I had once somebody call me and say, they want to get married. I think some woman, I can't remember whether she was Shia or Sunni, but she was one or the other. And she wanted to marry the person of the other.
Opposite, yeah.
So I can't remember which one she was and which one the guy was.
And they came to you?
But they asked me. So they asked me on the phone, right? So, look, listen. And her understanding was like, I just don't get, like I don't understand. Like, I totally just don't understand it. Like, why can't we, like, we're Muslim and we're just like, we believe in Allah, we believe in this.
It's a very common question.
She didn't really know anything. I can't remember which one she was, but she didn't know what necessarily Sunni was or Shia was.
Both Muslim, that's it.
And she was just really confused on this. And this is a prime example of how the common person is thinking.
100%.
So the question is, well, how do you move forward in life? How do you move forward? Like, what is I get the fact, look, if we're going to if people just want to dig up dirt, there's going to be dirt everywhere.
Yeah.
There's going to be, like, obviously every sect,
has something.
Every group, every denomination is going to have, like, wackos saying things.
Yeah.
It's like, look at all this stuff I've recently brought out in some of the Sunni literature brought out, which people happily turn a blind eye to. Like saying the satanic verses could be legitimate. Ibn Taymiyyah endorsing it. You got Ibn Hajar endorsing it.
I think that they don't really want to deal with that. I think it's just like it's.
But my point is like that's a wacko thing to say. You know, like even the Prophet, this whole thing that I said in Bukhari, saying, oh, he forgot the Quran, he used to make mistakes in the Quran, make blunders, make this. Like these are crazy wacko things.
Hashtag Bukhari Gate.
The Bukhari Gate thing. Now my point is, but it's not just. It's this whole thing. Like everybody said crazy stuff. Like if we just want to pick on people, and I'm sure people will say, look, the Shia. They'll say that once again they'll say, if people have said it, that the Shia will say the Quran is incomplete, or they'll say the Shia will say Imams are higher than the Prophets, or they'll say that this kind of stuff. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if some Shia have said that, just as some Sunnis have said certain things. Now, my point is, how do people move forward?
All schools,
How do people? Because like, do we just like? I just hate you, you just hate me.
Do we just stop
it's like,
do we just
like I just, kafir, 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 kafir.
Indian, I just get a machine gun and go.
It's like, it's like one of my teachers, Abdullah Mantaki Saab, a great teacher actually, but at the time, you see, this is another thing. At the time, you see, in Karachi, sometimes this Shia Sunni thing was way out of order, man.
It would get quite tense.
Like killings and bloody bombings.
Karachi was quite
ridiculous stuff, man. Honestly, like I don't understand how the value of life is so cheap. I don't understand how the value of life is so cheap.
Islam's relation to blood,
and in relation to religion, like because at the end of the day, it's in the name of God. It's not even in the name of, like you can understand people have a personal argument. Fight over land, fight over wealth, and they end up killing each other over God. Like, what the hell is that about? So now he once said, I can't remember what he was talking about, which group, but he said that they'd written on the wall, like he goes like some people had been killed, and they go like somebody had written on the wall in like paint, like this massive. Kab tak maroge?
Wow.
Like up until when will you kill us? And he goes, Fil badhi, like, immediately, impromptu, I came up with the response, Jab tak ji chahe.
What kind of, it's so sectarian, like, how do you deal with that?
It's like, what the hell is this about? But my point is, like, you see, this mentality of saying, look, like the way that there's a poem which I've said before actually, part of it, where the guy says, Istara saat nibana hai dushwar sa, like it's difficult to get by like this. Tu bhi talwar sa, me bhi talwar sa. We're just swords clashing. How do we move forward?
Yeah.
So my point has been, look, the common Muslims don't know this stuff. They don't really understand it. Can't we just move, like, okay, there's things we don't disagree, the things we disagree on.
Clearly, 100%.
Just fine, just don't discuss them.
Yes. And
just move forward, like we would with, like, let's say I'm sitting with somebody totally different. We have no problems sitting with non-Muslims, let's say, who, I know people might say, yeah, but that's because sects are non-Muslims as well. But the thing is, no, we have no problem sitting with an atheist, doesn't even believe in God. Fine, like, could be my friend. Like, I've got a few friends who are atheists. Now, fine, we've got no problem doing that. But if he's a Muslim, it's like that clip, remember that clip, the Pakistani clip, the guy's on the tree about to commit suicide. And that's so hilarious. He's like, don't commit suicide. And you're Muslim, you send me your Sunni. Are you Hanafi?
And he goes all the way.
And he's like, kafir, what?
That one last thing.
So this is what we're like. Like, we have this thing of, and to the common Muslim, this makes no sense. Like, yes, everybody's going to have skeletons.
No, it's
but
true.
The point is, are we pushing that today? Like, as long as we're not, so I'm not, like, one is, if we're pushed, like, okay, one is having opinions, one is, okay, one thing I would say is, okay, there's no abuse. Abuse aside, and generally I think I've heard you as well support, and several Shia ulama, I've quoted several Shia ulama, Sistani and other people saying that, look, it's haram to kind of curse symbols and stuff like this, because, look, this isn't the way to do things, even if you disagree with people or whatever. Now look, okay, put that stuff aside, the rest, look, it's fine. Look, okay, when I say fine, I have my understanding, you have your understanding, but look, why can't we just get along? Like, we won't discuss that, we'll just move forward.
And do you know what Mufti Sahib, it's like, that's in relation to Shia Sunni.
Yeah.
From there, the scope is so small that even within your own...
Yeah, because I said like, look, Brelvis and Deobandis, now this is a prime example. Brelvis and Deobandis are almost like just twins, yeah? Like just, they're kind of like just...
Qabil and Qabil.
Qabil and Qabil.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I'm not going to get it for that one.
I never said it.
I never said it.
I said it.
Shia said it.
So the Shia causing the problem,
Right, but that's now the thing is, look, they're identical, almost. I mean, they're twins. They're like those non-identical twins.
Yeah.
Because
He said it the best Qabil Qabil. He said it already.
the thing is now, both Hanafi, both subcontinental, both got just 100 years ago, both got the same teachers. They're both Maturidin Aqidah, both, you know, they both are generally Maturidin Aqidah.
Yeah,
they're both like, everything is the same.
Yeah.
They both Sufis, follow the same kind of tariqah, tasawwuf of Chishtis or Naqshbandis, whoever they are. Now, the only thing they disagree on a few issues, and that too may be based on just two things. One, it may be based on misunderstanding, and it may just be based on a bit of stubbornness of people refusing to criticize. Like, I'm not going to say, yeah, he made a mistake. Just say it. If a guy made a mistake, he made a mistake.
Or even like you say, if something.
People say like, look, like, you know, we mentioned like Imam Malik. I'm just saying, look at like legends like that. Even like you have Imam Malik students would say that, look, when Ashhab, one of his key students, somebody presented to him, said, yeah, but Malik said this. He said, you know, Malik is Malik, but what in qalaha Malik? And even if Malik said, lasna lahu bima Malik, we're not his servants or slaves.
Wow, yeah.
At the end of the day, he's a legend, but he, you know, and the famous statement that was said about Imam Malik as well, that he said that Malik kabir, lakin al-haq akbar minhu. The truth is, you know, that as said about Plato as well. What was it? But anyway, but the whole thing is that Plato, but the truth is greatest. He's dear, but the truth is dearest still.
Dearest, yeah.
But the whole thing is
these are wise statements.
Yes, these are great people. We love them. Yes, if somebody made a mistake, fine. You know, it doesn't. Okay, you can acknowledge a mistake. You can say, but okay, because of this stubbornness and a few, maybe some misunderstandings as well, they can never look how close they are. Hate each other with a hatred.
So I think it's to do with, rather than even different sects, I think it's just to do with people's minds being
mindset.
close. And the mindset, I think, especially in the UK, where basically it's getting imported from our countries.
Yeah.
Where we're originally from,
Massively.
that's coming from there. Because how are you going to have it in the UK, born and bred here? We're not taught that. So how is that in your mind here?
Because
unless
this
you're
is what's
importing
being obvious. This is what we're hearing.
It just goes back to the point. Family members can even have difference of opinion.
And they do.
And
They often do. They often do. Family members often have different
just don't do a Habil and Qabil and kill each other.
You don't need to. And then when you disagree with somebody, fine. You just don't need to discuss that. Like,
and if you're not mature enough to discuss it intellectually, then don't.
Or either have a discussion
intellectually
or don't. Like if I think, look, you know what, I can't handle this situation. Let's just say, I think, look, I can't handle. It's like somebody contacted me a little while back. He actually got offended a bit. But he said to me, I want to debate this, like as in, not debate as in like scholarly level, but debate as in like, he wants to kind of discuss with me back and forth about proving to me that Aisha radiallahu anha was a child.
Oh, he wanted to prove
He wanted to kind of prove to me, he's a Sunni. Like, so I got upset. Like, I just said to him, look, don't discuss this with me. I don't want to talk about this because I've got my video on it. I've got my stuff on it. If you're just going to keep justifying to me what sounds like paedophilia, I don't want to hear it. So my point is, like he said, oh, well, why I said, look, if I don't want to discuss something, I don't want to discuss it because all you're doing is just nonsense and I don't want to partake in this nonsense of yours. So I'm just going to be clear, look, I don't want to talk about this now. I've got a detailed video on it and I'll do more on it, but it's not that I'm backing away from the discussion, but right now you just keep going back with this stupid thing of saying the culture. I don't want to know. Right, so because that's nonsense as far as I'm concerned. Now the point is, okay, so either you don't discuss things or you discuss them, or you have a calm discussion or whatever, but an academic and objective discussion.
Or if you're too emotional, don't go speaker's corner.
Yeah, like
this is why I
don't go speaker's corner.
We're trying to convince him. So we can all jump on it together.
My was trying to tell me to go speaker's corner. I was like, what the hell for?
Everyone was in it.
He must be in on it.
Everyone's in on it. We got it. No, so you know what? As a philosopher, look, like I'd
like to say that. Look, I think that there are, like I saw a video recently. I don't know personally what's Ammar Naqshwani, but I've seen his video clips. Now, I saw a clip recently shared by some people trying to highlight contradictions of his. So I saw some clip which seemed recent. Once again, I don't know how, but it seemed by the quality of it, seemed and the way he looked, it seemed more recent. In there, he was saying that, look, we Sunni, Shia, whatever, we need to kind of have some points of unity, move forward. We have a lot more in common than we do have against each other. So we need to kind of like, at times, yes, we've got our differences, but put them a bit like, tone it down. So he was saying this, and then the person was showing like an older clip where he's kind of saying that these Sunnis have lost the plot and stuff like this. Now, I just felt like I watched that. It came up on my YouTube thing, and I watched it, and I felt, look. And there's another Shia scholar who, you know, he says some very interesting things actually, very well versed, very learned, Sheikh Kamal Haydari. So
I thought you would like him.
I actually do. I take a liking to. I know people are going to think, oh, but I do. I like a lot of, and the guy, he's very critical of the Shia thing as well. And they were quoting him as well. So they had him saying, look, oh, we need kind of like unity. But then they had an older clip where he's saying like, he's kind of like dissing the Sunnis. So I felt, look, I'm not saying that people wouldn't have said that. Look, if you'd asked me, there was a time when I would probably, if I'm going to be introspective and look into my own self, and I'm going to think that there was a time where I would have been intolerant. And I would have been intolerant towards Shia because I wouldn't have known about the Shia thing, and I would have just been part of the same product. And I've not grown up around Shia, and I've not known anything about them. I've just been told things by people, or they believe that Jibreel made a mistake, and Ali was meant to be the prophet.
Said, if you don't fill the void, someone fills it for you.
Exactly. So I would have been just as intolerant as the next person. So if you asked me a while, like let's say a while back, I may have said
this interview wouldn't be happening.
So now, exactly, it wouldn't have happened. And now my point is, now let's say I am saying this now. Like we need unity. Now somebody says, okay, let's find an old, okay, you won't get probably an old clip of mine, like, but I'm just saying,
time is evolution.
But what's the point of trying to undermine the message of unity by trying to say, look, so many years ago you said this. You probably did say it.
People change.
But we all say things, and we all learn, like we all think like, you know, like, how do we move forward? It's like somebody said to me, and I respect, there's a local doc, obviously Doc, if he's watching this, like he asked me, look, but there's a lot of things, and he made some genuine questions. He said, look, there's a lot of things which he said, like he's personally heard from Shia, very problematic, very kind of this, and they've opened up and they've said this stuff to him. And I've said that, look, and he said that, Mufti, you know, I heard your Monday nights with Mufti, the last one, this is not this one, but a few back. And he said that, you know, you mentioned about there needs to be kind of unity between Shia and Sunni. And he said, you know, but you don't really know what the Shia are about, and they like this and they like that, and I've known them personally. and I actually believe he's genuine, and I believe he has met those people. But I've said to him, look, but the thing is, look, two things. One, there's wackos in Sunnis as well. Like this wacko, like let's say, what's his name? Yasser al-Habibi. Like I said, look, like that, you're going to get Sunnis like ISIS people, you're going to get people like like you're going to get all kinds, like even if they're not like butchering people, but they still got wacko views, they would consider all of us kuffar, no exception, like so. But then I said, look, the second most important thing, I said to him, look, I'm not disagreeing this stuff may exist in literature, it probably does, I wouldn't be surprised, that's not my issue. My issue is, where is the message of hope? Like where is the hope? Like if we all cling to this kind of like, then where is hope at the end of the day? Like how does anything move forward? Like if we just like, you know, like, oh, we just clash and just hate, and you hate and I hate and you hate.
I think to add to that is that I think when people get misconfused, when they say unity, it's that word. What does it mean by unity? Unity is coexistence.
Exactly.
Based for me, like for what I would take, and probably you might agree, or feel free to disagree. By unity, we mean coexistence. It doesn't mean I then become a Maliki, you become a Shia, we start arguing each other.
So it's not uniformity.
Exactly. And people, when you say the word Taqreeb or unity, they think that.
Yeah, no.
And that's when people get
that we can never have.
Exactly.
I could get my friends, and we could never be like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Even though we could be like,
but it's about having
like
respect. I have to respect your intellectual legacy.
And you just
and
think,
you respect mine.
like you just gotta, like you said, hit it on the coexistent, harmonious coexistence.
Because if we can do it with non-Muslims.
Yeah, like at the end of the day.
We should learn from history as well. I mean,
yes.
the Sahaba had differences.
Yeah,
what eventually happened?
Exactly.
We end up having civil wars.
Yeah, and what is and the thing is this, look, there needs to be a message of hope.
Yeah.
Hope is too necessary. Like everything, like having no hope is not the way forward. Like even if we disagree, fine. If somebody is, if somebody's out of order, we will find people out of order. But the thing is, there needs to be a message of hope.
Yeah.
Because truth be told, we have obviously, ultimately, it's one God, one messenger, one book.
Yeah, this is the basics.
It's not ultimately. Now we all disagree on our interpretation of the
later,
book.
innit? The basics. This is the basics.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, this is what it is. Now, yes, like okay, you're Shia, I'm Sunni. We disagree on certain things, but that's in my life. I do that. That's in your life. But why can't we sit together, be civil? Why can't we have compassion? Why can't we have
It's almost
harmony?
like the scholars have made these borders so that you can't.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's almost like that as well.
And the pressure is immense because
I would say immense. I would say especially like I would say sometimes from the Sunni side, I think the pressure is hard as well. Like we generally get told that you should mix, and from the Sunni side it's like, oh well, why are you sitting with them?
Yeah.
It's almost like that. So
it is true because people would be like you'd get immediately blacklisted. You'd get immediately kind of like.
Well, you're blacklisted already.
Because I already am.
So you're cool. That's how
they're like, oh, this guy's gone anyway.
This guy's gone anyway.
Why doesn't he just call himself a Shia and then we wouldn't have a problem?
Just take it out.
He's attacking Bukhari.
I'm wearing white. I can't be.
You can't be. You know the thing, yeah?
I got black.
There you go. Change that into a Zulfikar.
Almost a sword.
It's almost a sword.
It's really close.